Hello everybody, my name is Mr Parsons, or as I'm known in a lot of the schools I teach in, Mr P. Welcome to those of you that haven't seen the channel before, and welcome back to those of you that have seen the channel. This is just a short introductory video just to go through some of the safety points, to speak about some differentiation and how you can adapt the video to suit what you've got at home or the space you've got and the things you've got around you, and just a general sort of pointer to help you in the right directions for the videos. In each of the video there should be a title to state what the video tells you about. I'll try and suggest if it's more suitable for sort of Key Stage 1 children, so sort of your 4, 5, 6-year-olds, or maybe it's Key Stage 2. But with the differentiation tools we're going to talk about, then hopefully you might be able to adapt these to obviously make it easier or harder depending on how you're finding them. Please make sure with all the videos you are supervised when doing so. Even if it's from a distance, or as long as your parents know where you are. If you're in the garden in front of you, to say know where you are so you're not attempting to do these videos unsupervised, etc. Just notice my hats, a little bit wonky. I actually now look like my emoji, in case any of you saw the emojis there earlier. And yes, I'm covering up a bald head. So, some differentiation to make some of the games easier or harder, depending on how you're going with them. There will be some suggested differentiations throughout the videos, but you can always relay back to this, and it will be great to hear if you come up with some different ways of making the games easier or harder, or changing the scoring and stuff, of how you managed to adapt that at home, which might benefit others as well, give some other people some ideas. So the differentiation I use a lot of the time, which we use all the time in PE, this isn't a new method or something I've come up with, is the STEPS differentiation, so STEPS. The first one is space, so think about how you can make the game easier or harder depending on the space that you're using. So the area you've got to stay inside, the target area you're aiming for, if you're using a goal or a bucket or flower pot or something you're aiming towards, can you make that bigger, smaller? If you're playing a tagging game or movement game, how that affects the sort of game. So the space is the first one for S of STEPS. Next one is the task that you're doing, so space, and then you have the task. So how can you adapt that to make the game easier or harder for younger ones, for older ones? They have to do more jumps, less jumps, more throws, more bounces, have to move higher or quicker, etc. Could have to hold their balance for longer. So the actual task that you're doing. The next one is E, which is equipment. So space, task, and then the equipment that you're using. So trying to adapt each game to make it easier or harder. So you might be using a tennis ball or a football or a softball. Maybe you could use a balloon to slow things down, because they're quite good for Key Stage 1 when they're trying to do keeping ups or catches and headers and things. I do a lot of balloon work with sort of the younger children, because obviously moves a lot slower through the air, etc. And that could even be, again, the goal that you're using. Could you use a basketball hoop higher up? Could you add in an obstacle that you've got to get over or throw over or whatever? So the equipment that you're using. The next one is the people. So this is obviously quite a limited one at the moment, because unless you're in a household where there's a lot of children, a lot of siblings, etc., it's going to be quite hard to adapt the people. If you say had 3 of you playing, how you can adapt it to make it, maybe is it 2 against 1, maybe the older child is then against the younger 2, etc., or parents for your children or something like that. So you're changing the people that are involved. And the final one is the scoring points. This is probably one of the best ones for you to do, so especially if you're playing with siblings. One of you are probably slightly older, obviously one of you is a little bit younger, you could change the scoring point. So if I was playing against my sister, who is maybe 2 or 3 years younger than me, every time I scored a goal or got a point or hit the target or whatever I'm trying to achieve, I could be worth 1 point. Every time she got it in, because she's a bit younger, then she might get 2 points or 3 points or 5 points, obviously, depending on the age gap and the ability and how you're finding it and things. So you can change the scoring system as well. Please make sure when you're doing any of the games and activities that you're in a suitable space. That means it's clear from clutter, there's no trip hazards. Obviously today it's pretty chilly, so it's not icy, etc. It's not too wet, there aren't any big puddles. If you are playing inside, again, make sure it's supervised, make sure the parents know where you are. Just be aware when if you're doing any coordination games or balancing or movement, that there aren't things you're going to knock off. You're not going to knock over a television or knock over some ornaments or things around you. So again, just being aware of the space. Obviously lights above you if you're jumping and stuff and throwing things. So yeah, just be aware the space around you is safe for you to use. And yeah, hope you enjoy the videos. If you've got any feedback, that would be great. I'd really appreciate if you could like and subscribe and all that jazz. I'm sure you guys know what to do better than me. And yeah, I look forward to seeing your comments. Take care.